The Sherpa team were heroic in their antics of fixing the road. We got avalanched. The weather was less than perfect, but we did it. It first started down a climbing walk, Brunel University in Uxbridge, which then had probably one of the best climbing walls in the country. My first real climbing experience was on the south coast at Swanage. And I get on this climb and I'm sort of battling my way up it. And I remember getting part way up and decided I needed to get some protection in the rock in case I fell off. And you put these little metal wedges in. And I needed to take my hand off to get the metal wedges off my harness and put them in. And every time I took my hand off, I would go to fall off. And I made this decision. Because I was sweating, it was a hot day, and I can remember sweat dribbling in my eyes. And it's like, I got a decision to make. I could try to get some gear in and maybe fall off, or just gun it to the top. And I gunned it to the top without any gear. And I pulled over on this loose limestone and I was hugging a stake that gets put in by the climbers. I was hugging it, and then before putting the rope around it, so scared. And then my friend Andy came up behind me and said, "What on earth were you doing?" I was running scenarios through about what I was going to tell your mother when you fell off and killed yourself. And that was my first outdoor climbing experience. So during the pandemic, not being able to go climbing again. So it's my third expedition to Everest. We had 2 successful ones before. I had a team of 5. We were late getting to the balcony, which is one of the spots. So you would leave the high camp about 10 o'clock at night, climb right through the night, get to the balcony at dawn, and then continue up. And back in 2006, whichever team went first would lay the rope for others to follow, so fixing the rope. And because of deep snow and just minor hiccups which were compounding, we were late. We were late to the balcony, and we had to make quite a bold executive decision about what to do, and we decided to continue. Now, after the 1996 disaster on Everest, where 11 people died, there are quite strict turnaround times. There's unwritten, the guidelines, unofficial guidelines about best working practice on the mountain, and that is a non-negotiable turnaround time of 1 o'clock in the afternoon, leaving enough time and energy and oxygen to get back down. 2006, we summited at 3:15 in the afternoon, getting back down just before dark. For me, as a young Everest leader, that felt very, very on the edge. It was my decision. In my charge, I had 5 clients and a tail guide, and of course the Sherpa crew. But we pulled together, we worked as a team. The clients were carrying their own oxygen, which is, to be honest, unusual these days. The Sherpa team were heroic in their antics of fixing the road. We got avalanched. The weather was less than perfect, but we did it and we pulled it off. And the BBC happened to be at base camp, recording everything that was going on at base camp. So you have a base camp manager, she's on the radios to us. And it was fascinating to see the other side of the story, because you're so embroiled in what is happening in real time on the mountain. You don't often think of those who are following you or part of your journey, but not actually with you. And the BBC footage at base camp is fascinating to watch. There is so much trepidation and worry with those at base camp about what we were doing. And you can hear the debate. Is he doing the right thing? Should he turn around, or should they turn around? And of course, they got no control. So having the two, knowing that we pulled it off, but then also watching the background to it, it was very, very on the edge. Yet it did work, and ultimately, as I say, I think it validated my leadership on the mountain. So I'm an Everest guide. I professionally lead others to the top of that mountain and back down again. I work in a very bespoke, fairly unique way. I only ever work with one client. I invest myself in my client. I get to know family, I get to know friends, and we build a meaningful, trusting relationship. So if I do have to make decisions which perhaps aren't massively agreeable to the client, they are accepted without debate because we have this trust relationship. But the preparation, as I said, 2, maybe 3 years, that will involve going to other mountains. Could be in the Himalayas, things like Island Peak or perhaps Amadablam, down to Argentina for Aconcagua, training in the Alps, or even in the UK. And the majority of that time is building that friendship and relationship with the client, as much as technical acumen which is required for the mountains. On top of that, you have physical training and nutritional training before you go. You don't need to be an Olympic athlete to climb Everest, but you do need to be in good physical health, but arguably more importantly, good mental health. If you believe in yourself, if you have the confidence within yourself to climb that mountain, generally, with fair winds and good conditions, you will. Training in the UK, I run around the fields at home a lot. I live in the Cotswolds and it's pretty flat where I live. In terms of mountains, we are blessed. Our mountains may be small, but they pack a big punch. Can be the Brecon Beacons, Lake District, North York Moors, or of course Scotland. The Scottish mountains are sublime. And then the rock climbing, I'm biased. I think we have the best rock climbing in the world, bar none. The adventure rock climbing in this country is off the charts. So we've talked about Team Cool, the 5 amigos, myself, my wife, 2 children and a dog. To balance what I do being away, this year in 2021, I've been away almost 6 months, virtually in one go, trying to make up for lack of travel and lack of work last year. When I go away, the family come together, the children and my wife call themselves 3 amigos. And they form this little closed bubble and they try to keep themselves as active as possible and trying to keep the bad stuff seeping in. What I do for a job, it is dangerous. And there is that underlying fear that perhaps I won't come back one day. So they try to keep their minds off that by staying active. And of course, these days we have generally great connectivity. We can talk as a family relatively regularly, be it FaceTime or WhatsApp. That's a double-edged sword, certainly for me, because I really miss the children, especially when I chat to them and then I can't actually be with them. I personally struggle with that. So my way of dealing with things is I'm very good at closing things off. When I'm on expedition, I will only talk to family once a week or something like that, and that's more for my well-being. It's hard being away from home. It's hard juggling your own personal ambition with that of the family. I don't have the answer. I keep searching for it, I keep trying, and one day maybe I'll find it. But for now, as long as everybody is relatively happy, healthy, and enjoying what they're doing, then perhaps we have found a balance of some sort. Challenges, well, I mean, my goodness, I hate to say it, I'm beginning to get a little bit older now. And some of the big ambitions I had when I'm younger, I'm now trying to reconcile with myself that perhaps I won't do them. I'm shifting my parameters. Now is more adventurous travel. I'm off down to Antarctica in the new year. Beyond excited about that. We have an unclimbed peak that we are attempting. It's a continent I've never been to. And then we're going to bump down to the pole. I'm back to Everest again. A lifelong dream up to now was to climb K2. I managed to do that this year, so that's a big tick. But what's on the horizon? On the horizon is to continue the journey of discovery of life. Keep pushing the boundaries, stay fit, stay healthy, both physically and mentally, and then try to nurture the children to embrace and enjoy life as best they can, because before you know it, you're grown up like me. I'm a big fan of Peter Pan. He was onto a good thing, I think. So trying to stay young, healthy, and have fun is what's on the horizon next.